What's going on? Tom Mackrola, Bagaloans.com, back with Understanding the 4 C's, the basics of qualifying the home loan series. We're breaking down things that have to do with credit. Now today we're going to talk about 5 factors that impact how your credit score is calculated. Now I'm not making any guarantees or any promises or telling you anything like that. This is based on my own personal experience, my professional experience, and my own private research. I encourage you to do your own research and come up with your own conclusion. So here we go. We're going to get into it. 5 factors that impact your credit score. Now the first factor and the most important factor is payment history. That's 35% of how your credit score is calculated. Now payment history is just that, your payment history, how frequently you pay your bills on time. You want to have an immaculate payment history where you don't want to pay things late. You want to pay things on time. You don't want to let accounts go. You don't like a charge off or put it to collections, none of that. You want to have perfect payment history. That's going to make your credit score be much stronger. The second factor is amounts owed. Now amounts owed makes up 30% of how your credit score is calculated. Basically what amounts owed is how much you owe versus how much you have available. Now typically a rule of thumb is you want to keep your amounts owed down to 30% of what you have available. The logic there is that you're using credit in that situation out of convenience as opposed to using it out of necessity. You know, if you're letting a balance of over 30% go month to month and it's revolving each month, that can have an impact that'll lower your credit score. Now, the third factor that impacts your credit score is length of history. That makes up 15% of how your credit score is calculated. And basically what length of history is it's a cumulative average of the length of all your credit history. You had an account for 10 years, you had an account for 5 years, you had a couple accounts for 2 years, you do 17 divided by 4, and it'd be like 4 something would be your average length of the history. So that would be what your length of history would be based on, is that cumulative average. So that's important. If you do have older cards or older accounts, you don't necessarily want to close them because that could impact your length of history. You just want to keep a good standing, keep the account current. The fourth factor is new credit inquiries. Now, every time you apply for credit and your credit is pulled, in most situations there's going to be an inquiry on your credit, which just shows that your credit was ran by that creditor at that time because you were applying for new credit, whether you open it or not. So that inquiry can actually have an impact. It's not a huge impact, but it is a subtle impact. It impacts about 10% of your score. So that's something to kind of watch your inquiries, especially if you're going to be using your credit. You don't want to just get random inquiries that are irrelevant. All right, now the fifth factor that impacts your credit score is types of credit. That makes up 10% of how your score is calculated. And basically what types of credit is the type of credit accounts that you have on your credit report. So let's say you have an installment loan, revolving accounts. That's going to have a positive impact if you've been keeping them current because it shows that you have experience dealing with multiple types of credit and you have a diverse credit picture. Those are the 5 factors that impact your credit score. Things to really take into consideration if you're trying to protect your score, you're looking to raise your score. I'm going to be offering much more value in regards to credit and all the topics that I discussed in my ebook, Understanding the 4 C's, the basics of qualifying for a home loan. My name is Tom Mackrola, Bagaloans.com. Hope you stick with me. I got much more videos and content